Hi, everybody. I'm Sandra Pelley, the Sandini Inner Dragon Transformation Specialist, as well as the Dragon Ally and the Galactic Shaman. And I have my beautiful co-host with me, Christina De Souza, so that she can help me as she interviews me with these fun questions that I've been sharing with you guys with all the other people. So here's Christina.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for giving me this opportunity to introduce my very beautiful friend. Sandra guides What's Next Women beyond inner work into bold action, helping them meet their inner dragon, the part ready to lead, bringing the inner child's wisdom with the inner dragon's fire. She empowers deep transformation rooted in trust, intuition, and personal sovereignty. A trailblazer in spiritual and energetic alignment, Sandra blends ancient wisdom with practical action, turning whispers into roars. Known as the Inner Dragon Transformation Specialist, she is the author of A Spiritual How to and a I'm sorry, Sandra, I just
So,
watched that. A spiritual how to
how to.
how to, sorry, I'm misreading it. A spiritual how to and a co-author in guides, mystical connections to soul guides and divine teachers with features in multiple magazines. The Inner Dragon Quest with archetypes will lead you forward.
That last one's actually my gift in the spring equinox.
Oh, I see. Okay, well,
That's all right. We're having fun.
it's a good thing you asked friends to do the interviewing because if I was a pro at this, I would have already flunked and failed.
There's no failure. There's no failure in our lives. We expand from where we are at, right? I love it.
Well, Sandra, let's jump into some fun questions with you and let's get to know you a little bit better too.
For sure.
Just share our screen here. Beautiful. Okay. What advice would you give your younger self?
Wow. My gosh, I just remember struggling so much as a child. Well, how do I want to word that? It's not that I struggled so much as a child, I struggled as a teenager. So I think if I was going to say anything to my younger self, it would be to hold on to that leadership role that I was already exhibiting as a child. It took me a lot of years to come back into that leadership role in the way that I have now, and know and have faith that things will work out. That even though there are people who bullied you or whatever, that this brings up a lot of emotion in me. It's that everything is going to work out, and you'll find that you have a bigger heart than you ever thought you had as a child or going into your teenage years. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, Sandra. It's a vulnerable share, and I think it's such a truth that so many of us share. And, it might not come to mind to share it in that way, or we might not have a question every other day like this to prompt us to answer that. But, to our listeners, what is that thing you tell your younger self? And, what a beautiful share that was to be your courageous self and to you know, like you said, exhibit all those leadership, natural born gifts that you already have.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Let's see. Let's ask you another question. What's your go-to comfort movie or TV show?
Well, we don't have cable right now, but my comfort movie is the Paul Walker uh the the car racing ones and Chronicles of Riddick, believe it or not, which is I found that movie so profound because of Vin Diesel's the main character in it, and I truly believe that if you listen to it or watch it, there's not a single swear word in that whole movie. And that was so profound to me. And he also really kind of steps into the energy of wanting to be so supportive of somebody and then really recognizing what his role was in that and being torn between the two. And how did he step into that in a different way so that he could do both, you know? And I know it doesn't sound like that would be my comfort go-to, but it is. And then
You know
with
what?
regard,
There's some tells in there, knowing you just a little. Uh, I've not seen it myself, but one of the tells that stands out for me, Sandra, is you are a very conscientious person with the way you language things and the word choice you have. You have full, you know, vocabulary lists of words that you omit from your vocabulary altogether. So that for you to notice that a film goes by and does not have words that you do not appreciate present, that says a lot. Having not seen the show, not, I heard the other qualities, but that one is a true Sandra Pelley. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I didn't realize that.
Also the role you talk about in, really taking on that leadership role and really being committed to that outcome and really seeing um, perhaps that mentee through to the end. That's another quality that shines through. You have such a commitment and a dedication to the individuals you work with. And I've, had the privilege of knowing you for just, I think, over a year now. And your commitment to the outcomes of the individuals you work with, it's a heart feeling. It's not just a trackable, measurable outcome like we should be able to do. All of that is present, but you can actually measure the heart of what you do and the people you work with.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm also realizing something else that you said are saying as well with regards to this is that he plays this role and that he's also really supporting a child, a younger version. And I see how much of myself is in that with that inner child and the inner dragon and those two roles. Wow. I didn't see that before. Thank you.
Oh, even threading that back to the first question, and even how you looked and supported, and like, of all the things you could have seen of that younger version of yourself, like, you are many, 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 many things. You're not just that one slice that you took and you looked and you decided to speak to. There's just one more version of that beautiful representation of you leading yourself once again. Beautiful. Let's learn some more. Another question. If you could wake up tomorrow and be an expert at something, what would it be?
This one feels really easy on one hand, and I want to explain it even more deeply. If I could be an expert on anything, it would be the inner dragon. However, having said that, the inner dragon has been in my life now for roughly about 14, 16 months. And I'm really recognizing that if I knew everything about inner dragon, if I was an expert on inner dragon, that if I didn't walk the path to learn about the inner dragon, I would miss out on all the essence of what the inner dragon actually is. So, like, I don't think I ever want to be an expert on something. I want to be an authority. It's the thing that I speak about, but to be an expert makes it sound like there's almost like this level, and I'm forever expanding and learning in the realm of the inner dragon. So, yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. I really come to learn and know that about you, Sandra, is that you are much more quest driven. And quest, by definition, is an endless search for understanding and meaning. And when you talk about this only being 14 months, it might be how you are articulating it for the last 14 months. But you have had your inner dragon your entire life. So you have a life worth of experience to lean into and look at. And when you, which I have seen you do, lean in and share from that wise self, it only comes, like you say, the fastest way to becoming an expert is slowly.
And you know, I just want to share with everybody too how much you've been a part of that journey because it was upon your suggestion, it was upon you recognizing things within me that really helped me. Like that's what your aspect is with regards to the World Mastermind Cafe and the collaboration there. And when we started to talk a little bit more about myself and my journey, the idea of the boot camp came up, and that boot camp was really learning about there's seven archetypes of the inner dragon. There's seven chakras of the inner dragon, or everybody, seven chakras. And when you multiply seven times seven, that's 49. That means when I did the boot camp, that I actually had 49 stories within myself. And that it proved what you just said about how this has been with me forever, like from the very moment I was born. And I think that was, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Christina, for your role in that.
Oh, beautiful. No, thank you. It's always an honor to be a witness to someone else's journey and adventure. But you are absolutely the woman who is taking all those steps, and it's a beautiful thing to witness. Do we have time for another question, Sandra Pelley?
We do.
I love this. Hmm. What's a lesson the universe has taught you recently?
I'd like to, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to use, there was two that came to mind, and one was the inner dragon stuff. However, I want to actually move into a more personal one. And what occurred was this realization of where I am now versus where I was in, say, 2016 with regards to a really major medical thing going on with a parent. And in both cases, it was entirely different parents. So in 2016, it was one parent, and recently it was another parent. And I really recognized how much I've grown and have moved out of that, oh my God, why is this happening to me? I'm not ready for this. And I remember actually in 2016 yelling to the heavens, like, I am not ready for this. This is not acceptable, right? And really being I want to say dramatic about it because I was sobbing. I was very upset in that. And this time, when we had a very similar event occur more recently, I actually flowed through it in acceptance and being able to witness the bigger picture of what was going on versus what my specific reaction was in the moment. And that felt very, very powerful. So I think if anything, and this is, you know me, this is the lesson here, right? The lesson is recognizing when things come up that you've really struggled with before, but you're reacting differently to now. That was the lesson that was showing up for me, that I was reacting differently now, and that lesson was no longer one that I needed to do.
Mm, beautiful,
So it
beautiful.
was a lesson in itself. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes, yes. And that beautiful awareness that, with time, your capacity to be able to hold that experience has grown. You learned things the first time, you grew the capacity over time, and this time you had the space to really hold the the emotion. You had a container that was big enough to hold all of that.
Hmm.
And that's through that growth, and that we could keep threading all these questions back again, but it's that you couldn't have done it if you hadn't gone through the motions and created the space and time. And isn't that always the less the universe is teaching us? There's still more. And with that, let's do one more question, Sandra Pelley. Let's do that. Hmm. What's your all-time favorite book and why?
I believe probably my all-time favorite book actually is Tanis T. McRae's book, Walking with Myself. It was a book that I read back in, I believe it was either 2015 or 2016, and I've actually read it a couple times. In the first reading of it, it gave me permission to recognize who I could be, that it was okay to be experiencing things with a questioning mind, that it was okay to be um, to not accept, I guess, even like and let me rephrase that because like we've been saying all along here, there's a vocabulary that I dislike, and not is one of those ones. It gave me the ability to move beyond thinking I was unable to do something into being able to think in a different way. And it was a spiritual journey, that truly it was a spiritual journey. And I believe that in the soul reading that I had done around the same time were instrumental in developing and those first stages of who I've become now today is because I'm talking to myself or talking with myself. It's the title is one or the other. And I really just honestly just recognized this the other day. Here's a book that's called Talking with Myself. Okay. It's even the words are separated, myself. It took me from 2015 or 16 until 2023 to recognize that I wasn't actually loving myself. And in 2023, I began to love myself. And it was only just this last month that I recognized that, here's the title of this book that meant so much to me back then. And now it just takes on another whole understanding of that. Like it just takes it to another degree. Blows me away. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that we can talk about, for example, I'll say, oh, I'm running with a full cup today. Did anybody take the time to ask me what size my cup was? Is it a 1 ouncer? Is it a 16 ouncer? What it sounds like is, we always have a capacity we're working within, and your capacity has grown so much that you just keep holding more and more space, and you're open to seeing just how much space you can hold. Can you put that author's name out there one more time for everybody to
Sure.
hear, and the name of that book that had such an impact?
Yeah, it's Talking to Myself, and it's Tanis T. McRae. She's actually Canadian. She's in Alberta, even, and she actually lives in a town about 3 hours. I've met her personally. I've had coffee with her. We've had conversations. We've actually worked together as well and had really profound, deep, um, yeah, some really deep exploration. And it's so beautiful when you can come together with people like someone you admire like that, and you're on an equal par. And because of where you're both at in your expansiveness way of thinking and relating, you have the opportunity to be an equal on a level that isn't even explainable. Like it's so wild. It's so wild. I don't even know what to say to that because there was an experience that she had that was because of how I led us through something. And yet her book has been such a profound experience for myself. And I love that we can have that duality in our lives now.
Well, I think it's this beautiful thing inside of our own humanity when we recognize that we just need one another. And before we applied our own ideas and thoughts and language to the human experience, there really was nothing other than our human nature to barter, which is equals. There's nothing more than our thoughts to share, our emotions to share that we are having as a human experience. And when it sounds like this beautiful Tanis, sat there as an equal in our humanity and created space for those thoughts to be shared and emotions to be shared, something beautiful came of it. Isn't that the opportunity we all want? And let me bring this back to an attention on you, and that is such a beautiful space that you constantly create for not just, I can see, Sandra, you in your life, you and your family, you and your friend groups, you and your clients. This is an authenticity that you hold space for, and it's very evident when you step into your world. It's very, very much felt by you, and I would dare to say it's a gift of yours.
Thank you.
All right. So with the spring equinox gift giveaway and that little tiny sneak preview I gave at the top of our little interview, but let me just put it out there for folks one more time. It is the Inner Dragon Quest. Which archetype will lead you forward? Can you tell us a little bit more about this, Sandra?
For sure. I am beyond excited about this. This is the newest quiz. So I have two previous quizzes, which were really helpful for helping you to figure out why you're here, like the lessons that you're learning here. What this quiz is, and I'm going to say it again too, the Inner Dragon Quest. Which archetype will lead you forward? It truly is that. It really helps you to if you take a moment to look at each of the questions and breathe into them, really kind of dive more deeply into them instead of being in a big rush. And this has been said with another person as well. I love the throat chakra stuff. Decides it's going to act up right then, right? Uh, when you take the time to do the quiz, it actually will present you with an inner dragon archetype and a chakra that's very specific to help you to move forward in your life. And then again, just like Christina's doing a beautiful workshop, there's an opportunity to go into a workshop where you can learn a little bit more about how this archetype will help you move forward in a different manner. So it starts with that quiz and then leads into a beautiful workshop as well. So very, very powerful.
Oh, it sounds like quite a bit of a deep dive. And I've had the privilege of seeing you and the energy. So let me tell you, all the listeners, she's excited, is absolutely authentic and true. But let me tell you what she's not telling you. And that is the amount of effort, heart, and soul that she has put into this without even knowing your name, the time that she has spent thinking thoroughly through the experience and the emotional charge and how she wants you to experience this. And she doesn't even know your name yet. Like the heart. It's been a privilege to watch. It's been really exciting watching you put this together. And like anything out there, I think, Sandra, us human beings, we love getting to know ourselves. And the more we can get to know ourselves, the better we are in showing up for the world. And I dare say that this quiz really, really helps you hone in on different aspects of yourself in a way that you've maybe not thought before, in ways that help you explore with curiosity new potential adventures to go on. And I can tell you that there's no one better than Sandra Pelley, Galactic Shaman extraordinaire, and your personal guide to everything dragon.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Christina, for being my co-host, leading me through a series of questions. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Christina.
It's been fun. It's been fun interviewing you, the creative genius behind all of this, and it's beautiful to see your energy come through and to see your playful nature. And yeah, I look forward to so much more adventures with you.
Thank you, everybody.